Libra rising, what are the most challenging and favorable periods of 2025 for you according to astrology? I'm Sukboy, you're awesome. This is your year ahead. Let's talk about it. You are not a stereotypical human being, and although you share a rising sign with potentially millions of people, your chart ruler is Venus. So for further nuance, for further insight, we would need to discuss the placement, position, and condition of your Venus inside your birth chart. This will be a very general overview of your year ahead, just saying. Screenshot these dates for flagship moments. 3, 2, 1. Now, Mars started the year in your 11th house of Leo, forming opposition with Pluto down in Aquarius in that 5th house. Now, this could have manifested as some power struggles or not feeling heard or seen, recognized in your friendship circles. Your talents, your gifts, abilities kind of not acknowledged, let's say. Now, this could have been quite turbulent over the holidays, say around December and the first section of January. Now, Mars has retrograded into Cancer, which is your 10th house, and it will remain there until around May. While Mars was in Leo in this December-January timeframe, this is the house of your friends, your alliances, and your dreams moving forward. And so you may have actually had some confrontational matter occur between alliances or your general network of friends. And you may have had to confront that, or you may have been confronted by that kind of energetic in that time. Generally speaking, when Mars is transiting your 11th house, there is some kind of conflict or strife happening in this area of your life. Now, at the time of recording this, Mars has retrograded back into Cancer, which is your 10th house of career, life direction, and public reputation. Now, Mars has recently retrograded back into your 10th house of Cancer, and it was occupying this same location in October. So you can look at that period to kind of figure out what might be occurring now and what you can look forward towards. Now, Mars does not like Cancer, and it is very passive aggressive. So within the realm of career, near the end of the year, there could have been a lot of passive aggression being thrown around the office or the workplace. You could have been the conduit of that, or you could have been on the receiving end of that. Alternatively, you could have actually seen a fair bit of transformation or passive aggression manifested in the living situation or the family unit. Now, this will be ongoing up until, let's say, May, or just before May, when Mars stations direct and starts moving forward again, leaves this 10th house and goes back into your 11th house of Leo, friendships and alliances. So this is a pretty turbulent time for your career and your home life, transformation, and potentially a really good idea to have some kind of outlet for any rage, any suppressed anger, or any passive aggression. So you're not contributing to that atmosphere. Now, you may be on the receiving end of it for this first section of the year, but things improve drastically once Jupiter enters Cancer. Now, post late April, May, we should be seeing a wrap up, and we should be seeing things improve in both the home and the place of work. When Jupiter enters Cancer, we should see a resolve, and things should actually start to drastically improve. Now, if things have escalated to a point beyond return and it is still very tense, it's kind of suppressed rage and passive aggressive, Jupiter could actually expand this or add fuel to the fire. So it's really important in the first half of the year to remain cool and not project any passive aggression or have some kind of outlet for anger. You may be on the receiving end, like I said, but it's important not to bolster this, because when Jupiter enters the 10th house, it should be really favorable. Jupiter loves Cancer. It's a very gentle, emotionally safe atmosphere for both your family unit and in particular your life direction and your career. You should be feeling a bit more safe in that space around June. And this is a very favorable aspect. It'll go from June 2025 to June 2026. Absolutely gorgeous. Enjoy. Now, I have to jump all over the place a little bit because things get complicated. Around late March, you will actually receive your last eclipse in Aries and Libra. Now, for the last year and a half, there has been ongoing endings and beginnings in areas of yourself and the other, i.e. your bond to other things, other stuff, in particular your one-to-one relationships. And around March, we could see a beginning or an ending depending on your situation, in this area, in this axis of who you are as a person and what you consider to be the other and the bond you share with that particular person. Now, this doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could be a business relationship. It could be a very close friend. It could be your own therapist. I'm not sure, but for the last year and a half, there has been a dynamic playing out between self and other with these eclipses when they occur. And March 29th is the final Aries eclipse. Now, funnily enough, just as this eclipse occurs, we have a Venus retrograde also in Aries, also in your 7th house. This is at the start of April. Cast your mind back to the 18th of January, thereabouts, when Venus had a conjunction with Saturn in your 6th house of Pisces. That might give you a clue about what is to come. Now, around the 8th of April, whatever's been happening in this area of your life will become quite confusing. There won't be a lot of conclusive outcomes at this stage. You'll have to wait till the end of April before you find any closure about this little situation that may occur with a close friend, a romantic or business partner. But it's also about your relationship with yourself. When Venus retrogrades back into Pisces and conjuncts Saturn twice more, this is about coming to terms with your daily tasks and reprogramming a more authentic, compassionate routine that you have with your day-to-day. How do you want to spend your time, and what boundaries or barriers need to be dissolved so you can enjoy your day-to-day life? And this actually daisy chains again into who you want to spend that time with. And so therefore it could indicate a commitment to a relationship or the ending of a commitment to a relationship in this time between, let's say, late or early April through to mid-May. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's no relationships in your life, fair enough. This Venus retrograde through your 7th house could also indicate someone from your past actually circles back around and says, what's up? Just saying. Now, I'm not going to lie, the astrology really is focused on this 7th house. And after May, at the start of June, we see both Saturn and Neptune conjunct, moving into the 7th house as well. Now, this again shows us some commitments or some restrictions. Potentially you're in a relationship with a partner that has some limitations. There may be a physical accident or even some mental health issues that are already pre-existing that you should be aware of, but they kind of come to a head or start impacting the relationship quite heavily in this time. Now, the thing about Neptune, when it enters your 7th house, you need to be very careful to not be idealized by a partner or idealize a partner. There is delusions of grandeur or rose-colored glasses. Now, thankfully, Saturn will be in there to ground you, but at the same time, you'll be straddling what is fantasy and what is realistic when it comes to this 7th house relationship. Now, next up, as I mentioned, we have an eclipse season shift from Aries and Libra into Pisces and Virgo. Now, the first one actually occurs mid-March, but it's September where things really start to become more activated. Now, this is all about your mental health and your physical health, how you spend your time on a day-to-day basis with your work colleagues, anyone you see daily, and your acts of service that you do for them. How much do you consider other people in your life on a day-to-day basis? And this is psychological because it's Pisces. It's usually pretty compassionate, to be honest. Now, there'll be new beginnings and new endings in this area around September, just in the way you might relate to your work colleagues or the way you might even relate to your health. The 6th house is also about your health. Pisces is very mental though, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's a psychological time for you to do some reprogramming, shadow work, or even see a therapist in this time if you need to. Now, on the other side of this axis, we have Virgo, which is in the psychological house, but it's very physical. So as we get the eclipses in this 12th house, often the 12th house is about things we keep hidden. So be very careful that you're not sleeping on an illness or an injury in this time. And if you do injure yourself, attend to it. Don't ignore it. throughout September, these two eclipses will be quite profound, and they'll be there, for the next year and a half or so. Now, the final transit I want to talk about is happening in July, and it's when Uranus moves from your 8th house out of Taurus into Gemini. Now, Uranus has been in your 8th house of mortgages, debts, shared finances, and this has been very destabilizing. Especially if you share assets with another person, you have become quite aware that random things can occur to their lives that financially impact you on a very deep, intimate level. Now, thankfully, Uranus is moving out of Taurus. It doesn't really like Taurus. It's moving into Gemini, into your 9th house of higher education. In other words, if you are indeed a student and you've been at university, or if you are considering studying, around July, you should get some clues about how that might play out. And through July to September, you will have a very active mind. Now, this can also be spontaneous travel. This can also be a radical shift to your belief system and how you view the world. Your worldview could drastically change in this time. If it isn't indeed about study or higher education, it is, after all, the house of God, the house of religion and our belief systems, also long distance travel. And Uranus is very spontaneous, very fast moving. So we are going to see on a global level some innovations in technology, and therefore you could experience or integrate technology into your beliefs, let's say, or long distance travel and kind of an updating of all systems of what you want to learn about. Great time for study. It'll dip back into that 8th house of Taurus for a while, and then in 2026 it's well and truly in Gemini. So again, if you're thinking about starting to study around mid-year, very active, efficient mind for it around July. Okay, that's my breakdown for Libra. How does it land for you? I have a select couple of year ahead custom readings available on my booking site. I read astrology with my mother Viv. I'm Suk, Viv and Suk Astrology. Welcome to book it in. We are very busy at the moment. This has been a very popular service. Thank you for everyone that's already booked. I hope this helps. Drop some knowledge. Let me know what you think of your year ahead and my interpretation. Bye.